everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some Mono Black Skeletons, a very quick and hasty deck. There was a spoiler from the new set. I do not know how to pronounce the card, but there was a spoiler from the new set that has a synergistic theme with skeletons, allowing us to kind of tap, activate it, return a creature from our graveyard back to the battlefield, and then it's a skeleton with no abilities. But that is pretty good if we have big toughness and power on creatures, because of Corpse of the Lost being kind of our dominant card when it comes to skeletons. Along with that, we do have kind of a slew of removal, a lot of 1-drops, 2-drops like Dark Confidant, and the kind of strategic betrayal to hit the graveyards and things. With all that said and done, we're going to prioritize Corpse of the Lost, our skeletons, and we're going to dive right into the games. Alright, well, my opponent do be going first, but I do be having skeletons. That's pretty sweet. Start off with this. Honestly, I'd probably just start off with Forsaken Miner, right? Because if a creature is to get removed, I'd want it to be that one. Or honestly, Tiny Bones might even have been the choice, but it looks like my creature's going to get removed regardless. Maybe. We will have to keep that in mind. There's a Cauldron, so interesting enough. I want to play Sissel here. We want to play Tiny Bones. We want to attack, and now the reason for that is because I want to hold one skeleton back, but also Tiny Bones does kind of threaten to cast their stuff, so it's a bit weird. Are we just getting Vivi comboed now? No. Thrill Seeker, sure. I thought maybe Vivi was going to start doing some stuff. I think, honestly, it's kind of a weird thing. Do we want to Betrayal, or do we want to cut down? Well, they can always exile and save Fear from that, so it probably has to be the Betrayal here. This? They can exile, do that, and then fling it at me, I guess. Just depends what they want to do. Okay, they just let it happen anyway. Sure. They wanted to save that, obviously, which is fine. It's just funny. I thought they would just use the mana to at least fling the Fear instead of just letting it die, right? Like, just eliminate one of my creatures. Why would you not? Get rid of a Wild Run. Okay. Leave up 1 mana. Spell Pierce is not a card I'll be playing around ever. Now everything trades. Tiny Bones isn't even necessarily that, like, good here, so I'm all in. The Flood Maul that makes sense. They block and I lose a creature here, then I get to pick up the corpse, but I honestly probably won't. Because I'd much rather just play the second one, and then if I rip a land, I can go for the Forsaken Miner that way. They're going to get rid of my Forsaken Miner, which is fine. Cancel. Can't do that. Threaten it, but obviously they're going to be able to exile my creature, which is their goal. Forsaken Miner unable to come back, of course. We're going to decline here because, again, we want to play this if we draw another land, and then also have, like, the other Forsaken Miner go, and maybe a cut down would be good. They do only need, like, a 1-drop, though. That's the only scary part. Wild Run gone. The thing about that deck, though, is, like, once you run out of your threats that are getting huge on their own, it's a little bit harder, obviously. There's a Fear. Yet to be no Vivi. Obviously, that's definitely a little bit more frustrating for them. Let's go for the good old-fashioned Deep Cavern Bat here. That kind of changed our play a little bit. Profs is definitely the card to take. Both of these have Death Touch, so I'm totally down to swing them. They tried a Cauldron here. At any point, we'll just remove it then. We'll only do it then. I mean, I guess. Target Light Shatter, I suppose. Doesn't really do anything. Obviously, they could do the Cauldron if they wanted to in response. Obviously, we decline. Then we end turn because we're going to cut down the Sphere of Missing Out in response. If they try to activate this Cauldron. And put them on no creatures for the foreseeable future right now anyway. Yep. Get that out of the way. And now we just have the pressure that we want. And it would take a Vivi and a lot of things to get it done. Now they need a land plus Vivi. But I don't think that'll do it. It was kind of like a Vivi off the top or nothing, it seemed like, to me anyway. Thrill Seeker, sure. Sure. I obviously don't know about my other corpse. That's going to get rid of Sissel, sure. They'll have 3 damage on board. Maybe they have a bounce spell, and I mean, what a absolute phenomenal draw here. Corpse come in. Obviously, bounce spell is still possible. Seems like nothing's going to happen. And then a Forsaken Miner to put that last little bit of pressure on. And with that said, we move on. Like a little, weirdly, a bit easier maybe if it's Omniscience. Cut down, obviously, if it's just Blue Eye Control, probably one of the worst draws we could have had. A land would have been obviously phenomenal in there. I got my new phone, and my old one kind of had like the slide thing, right? Oh, it's artifacts. Okay. There's vacuum holding a little bit of priority there, just because that's kind of how it works. But my thing's a button now that I just kind of have to hold, and I'm not used to that at all. All right, well, this is all bad. It feels like it has to be the repurposing bay, but they can braided net, then tap my thing down and do spring loaded trap. But I mean, at least I take the valuable card away, right? At that point, this attacks. If I can find a land, we will be really well off. If I can rip a land off the top. Chances are so-so in our favor. Percentage isn't high. Like, I mean, the percentage is high. It's just not as high as it could be, obviously. Spring-loaded trap. The card of choice here. Do I make them use it on Sissel? I guess so. I'm going to attack with the Deep Cavern back, because I know what that means. Sure. Unfortunately, not finding this land is actually kind of devastating. I think we just go corpse into corpse, and then we're just having a good time all our way around. Maybe even a slasher comes through. Because obviously the braiding net's a problem. Sure. Now the other thing is if they hit another land, they can might weak stone, and the game plan's falling apart. Oh my gosh, man. Sure. I would like to attack with this. I did hit auto pass, that's why you saw it kind of bug out a bit. But I mean, I think we're just, the game's just done. We're already in a loss. We didn't hit a land. And there's a repurposing base. Now they don't need it. You have a land. They'll all come together for you. The thing is, if they rip a land, they get to go Mightstone, Weakstone, remove my bat. I'm just going to move on. This isn't worth our time sitting here anymore. Just drawing 3 drops while missing the 3rd land as I stare at my opponent playing the game. Not that fun. Who would have thought? Yeah, that was a great one. I honestly feel like we had a pretty good chance to win. Just didn't end up hitting the land. All right, opponent goes first. We already have more lands in this game than the last game. So, obviously, that's a... Oh, here they all come now. Yeah. Now that we only have 1 drops and 2 drops in our hand. Okay. Obviously, offer the trade. I doubt they take it, of course. Taking Miner here. And I kind of want to see if I can blow out a Shelter by Ghost if they try to do that. So we're just going to wait here. Oh, please. Please. This is also why you have to be attentive to your removal spells, right? Like, you just can't do that. Obviously, not going to allow that to happen. Can't cut down that anyway. Oh, boy. Well, you know what it is. Sure. We've now hit 5 lands in comparison to our 2 last game, and we have not hit like a payoff spell of any kind. That's always where, honestly, I find Arena probably the most frustrating, or at least it feels like it happens more often on Arena than it should, where it's like, how do I want to explain it? It feels like on Arena, what happens more often than I think it should is I go immediately from a game which I don't find lands into a game I flood, if that makes sense. And like, I mean, look how bad it is. We got stuck on 2 and now we have 6. You know what I mean? Like, that's where my frustration lies when it comes to this game sometimes. But Sissel's going to get to attack here. We'll go underneath. Oh, they're going to trade it, knowing Sissel will flip because of our life total. Bob comes in. Bob goes down. I mean, we're not going to win by not drawing cards. You know what I mean? We're already in such a bad spot. And obviously, Dark Confidants I'll be willing to trade off, I think. They should allow me to die to them. But they're not going to. I'll take the trade. Because it's how scary it can be. Okay. Pretty good. Obviously, they get Zorline and their whole graveyard, so that means they won't have that access later. Attack. We set them to their starting life total. Cut down, not a great... Cut down's like an okay draw. It's not the best draw of all time. Okay, maybe it's fine. The reason I said it's not the best draw of all time, because it just... As you saw, they played a couple of 3/3s, and cut down couldn't really answer those. Alright. There's a go for the throat, so Sissel comes in. They want to trade this bird off with my Dark Confidant. Obviously, we'll gladly take the exchange based on how this game's gone. And they do it, which I'm honestly surprised. I understand the card draw is... If you can eliminate my card draw, gotta feel good, right? But... I also feel like to some extent there's a bit of... You don't have to worry about that as much. Combat here. Full attack. I guess this can't block, right? So I might as well have sent it. I don't think they would have blocked it regardless, but now I have a go for the throat to protect myself a bit. They're on the opposite side. Hitting lands here might actually be worse for them now. They can give their Chandler flying by just taking a damage, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. If they gain life, they gain additional. Leyline not being the best draw I've ever seen. We remove this. No counters, so the Vanguard gets nothing here. What a weird game this has become. We're in. My creatures have indestructible. We're going to gain 4 life and go back up to 9, so we're obviously cool with attacking here. 1/1 with a cut down in my hand is not going to do much. They're at 8. The whole game is swung. In our favor, of course, now. Handler in play and no life to be gained. Good attacks for us to come across the board. Our creatures have indestructible, untradeable. They have to throw a block. Just get hit down to 4. We just hold because no matter what their top deck is, as long as we don't do anything, they just can't compete here. And we have it. What a game. What a weird turnaround that became. It was so scary there for a second, and then we kind of drew fortunately when we needed to. Well, now our hands are getting all over the place, but we'll try it. We have so many 1s and 2 drops. 4 lands in the hand. Okay, 5 lands. All right. I should have known. We should have known. I don't know, that happens. Temporary lockdown's obviously a thing I'm most afraid of here. I feel like this is Caretaker's talent, which is typically a tough matchup, but I mean, I guess it can't. Ooh, wait a minute. No, I know exactly. This is Ward 2. This is the flip deck, I believe. Yeah, I'm not letting that happen. I'll pay the ward. This is the land, right? We're just going to get cascaded on? Yeah. I just don't think we're fast enough. Our hand was too slow. Crazy. Ain't a life. They shouldn't have anything here other than a Carnosaur. Man, what are these lands, bro? We're in. Most likely dead here, I think. Yeah, when this is turned face up, add 2 mana of any one color. Its face up is whatever. Okay. Play here. Also, another land draw is just beyond frustrating. I only win because my opponent is playing the Cascade deck, if you don't know what it is. Alright, well, this looks like the best curving hand that we've had so far. So let's play here. Let's play Sissel. We've also started off with like this almost what feels like every single game. Blue-white once again. Our confidant's pretty solid here. Obviously, the removal spell is not necessarily needed. I feel like I should go for this because if we're trying to dodge temporary lockdown, right? Yeah. We're trying to dodge temporary lockdown. I think the thing to do is not play our Corpse of the Lost. That will just get absorbed by it. Also, the counterspell potential here. Our opponent just takes 4. I am going to jam this. I'll force them to counter this. No counterspell. Maybe it's a negate. Maybe it's still omniscience. I mean, there's always an option, right? Get lost. Okay. So probably get lost here. Temp lockdown. Absorb everything. We play corpse. Attack for 3. Unless we... Oh, stock up? Wait a minute. Did we draw a land here? Drawing a land would make this an incredibly aggressive turn from us. It would turn very aggressive very quickly, and we have 2 draws to do it. The only way I'm kind of investing here. Tiny Bones, Deep Cavern Bat. Okay, well we can change kind of the outcome with the bat, I guess. We just do this instead. So we have Exercise, Exile, Biza, Day of Judgment, Jace. I guess the only one I really care about. So they could play a Biza, I suppose. So yeah, we'll take the board wipe. And then I'm going to... We gamble on the land. I'm going to gamble on the land. Cool. Brutal, brutal, brutal. I feel like if we find the land, we're in pretty good shape. But unfortunately, we did not. Bees are going to come in. They're going to gain some life, make some creatures. Sure. Still not finding the land, which is crazy. And not any just straight up removal either. Interesting. We'll go to a 3-5 or 4-5 if it hits wrong. All right. Well, Biza can't remove it now, I guess. Let's attack here. I honestly didn't expect him to attack like that, but sure. Or block like that. I guess play here. Play here. And now I have a 6/6 lifelinker held back. This doesn't have indestructible, but again, it gives all of our stuff indestructible when we attack with it. That's kind of the purpose. And if their turn is like Jace or something, maybe we can Corpse of the Lost and do something. Oh, Exercise, sure. These attacks, obviously we have plans for that. With flying and everything and lifelink. Just, can we find a land, brother? I don't know. I mean, it's not a lot of attack here, I guess. We have plays if they do it a bit different. Maybe they have a counter spell. Oh, they don't even do that? Weird. Don't even trade that off. Interesting. Here. So let's let a token go. How have we had all these games where we've hit lands and not hit lands and stuff like that, and then now we're just stuck in this weird conundrum? I mean, if they want to attack me, they'll attack me. Sure. Obviously, if they attack and they don't have anything to hold back, like our Corpse of Loss can find some value, and I still cannot find a land. Interesting. Now they're going to Merc Regent here. See what's up. Now they trade, of course. Play Sissel. They might have a counter spell, but I feel like it's going to be a Regent wheel and then hope for a board wipe. Man, we're 18 cards deep, by the way. So we've had multiple games where we've only hit lands up till 6 or 7. And now we're 18 cards deep this game. And we can't find one. So, I mean, thankfully we finally hit one, you know? Put a flying counter in lifelink. How's this trigger? Whenever it deals combat damage, you moves up. Then, if your life total is less than equal to half your starting. So if I give it lifelink, it would cause problems, right? But I can give it flying, though. That's the main thing we want. But I guess I can also play. I guess I'm gonna play this flyer. Go here. Then I guess I'll attack with this. If they want to trade it, then sure. I suppose. On a 7. Stock up. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. But I don't know if they're ready for like the flying ambush, it seems like. Maybe they are. And here comes the lands now. A little part of me wants to play the Unstoppable Slasher here. I think they're going to probably have removal for my Deep Cavern Bat. And they're going to want to Day of Judgment me. Maybe not. Okay. Down to 4. I'm not going to give their counterspell any value if that's what they found. I'm just going to make my land into a creature, I guess. Because I feel like if I do play the Slasher and No More Lines just finds a ton of value. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm right, then obviously this is a good read. If I'm wrong, maybe I'm just being too passive. That's like the hard part when you're in spots like this. Sunfall, sure. We find a skeleton. Actually, we don't need a skeleton. We get it regardless because of this. Alright, this is up. I have my 3/3. I forgot I now get to play the Corpse of Loss, so obviously don't have to activate it there. And then we go right here into Corpse, and then we make a 3/2. And also, the Sanctuary becomes 4 because of Corpse Pump. What a weird game. But once again, just we end on what, 5 lands there? We are 21 cards deep on 5 lands. Is the game before we only hit lands. But the same thing with our opponent. They purposely discarded a land and then missed a land drop for like 2 turns. I don't know what. Maybe they were just holding to hopefully like Jace double barrel and maybe hit the lands. I have no idea, but we get there regardless in a really weird game. All right, well, let's see the experience here. We talked about playing this on turn 1 at every game, and I was getting ready to say we don't have a Sissel to play on turn 1 this time around, and then we drew it immediately. All right. So let's see what our opponent's up to. I feel like a Deep Cavern Bat's coming. Ooh, blue-black. All right. Okay, sure. Now I'm scared. We're going to cast this. We're going to pick lock Jace and Whale. Grab the Whale back, which is a Magic the Gathering card my opponent's allowed to play. We're going to go Deep Cavern Bat. We do have the Betrayal, so we just want to interact the best way we can. The only card I'm kind of afraid of here is the Whale because of how good it does get. But it can only really bounce here for a turn. We're going to mill 4, so it could get a lot better. Let's just take the Whale. Let's attack. I don't know when I'm going to have to play this, but I feel like it's going to have to be pretty quick. Honestly, it's probably best to do it after this is fully there. Oh, yeah, there's a Squirming Emergence and everything. So, most likely, I feel like we're going to sack this land. Unless they obviously rip the Squirming Emergence, then they're the best to ever do it. And there's not a whole lot I can say about it. But it's only for 7 right now. And that land enters tap, so it doesn't matter, I guess. For us, we'd like to move to combat. This is instant speed, so they're probably going to try to do it then. Get down, kind of do our thing. Play this guy out. Then we'll do this. I was really hoping that maybe they would try to have barreled that just to do it. But unfortunately, they did not. We exile everything. Now they can pick lock for 4. And then this may get to cast something good. There's a Squirming that they have to take back. That explodes. Now they do have 4 permanents in there, but unless they find something good, there's no way that that's their top deck, dude. What a top deck for the ages. That's insane. That's a crazy good top deck. But we're right back to the pressure. What a top deck. After all I said that, now I would have honestly felt way better if they would have just done it the other way, you know? If they would have done the pick lock and then grabbed it, and I'd been like, ah, yeah, that sucks. Instead, they're like, what if? What if? They're looking to bounce with this. It should definitely be my 3-2. But the thing with this is it needs 8. They have 4. Squirming Emergence in a bad spot. They could Founding here, I guess. I think it's any permanent, right? Return to battlefield non-land. Yeah, so they could probably Founding here. Oh, they're going to do it this way. Interesting. We're whaling. What are we whaling here? My 3-2 token? Turn target non-land permanent. Yeah, that makes sense. And unfortunate tragedy is striking upon. Now we're 12 cards deep, and we have 6 lands, where we were 18 cards deep just a moment ago. And we were nowhere close. And that's 6 permanents in there, so nothing really impressive going to get brought back with the Squirming now. But they obviously have the pick locks that they could just play and defend themselves. You have the best card in our deck, one of these, which would be great. But we find it. Alright, they're... Man, these games just aren't real, bro. Now we just lose, right? Yep. Because this is going to die in combat if I allow it. If not, they go to 7 regardless because of this. Or do they have to? It's only instant or sorcery, and you can see they have 6 of 7. And then there'll be 7 here, and there's an Attraction here. We're just not going to be able to beat that. So, I mean, I guess I'll stay. Who knows, man? Maybe I draw exactly my removal spell, and then they can't do anything else, but I doubt it, you know? Yeah. They just don't have to cast anything here. It just sucks that I have literally went from like 2 to 3 lands and never finding others to 3 to 4 lands or 2 lands or something, and I just can't. I've just done both nonstop these games. Bitter Triumph and a Swamp and everything else. Yeah, they got it. I'll move on. Here's to hoping for maybe what feels like the first normal game where maybe like even if I shouldn't win, you know? I just want a normal game. We got a 2-lander. Apparently we've been flooding every game, so I'm just going to keep it low to the ground. We're pretty aggressive. We'll see what's up. We do hit the land, fortunately. We're going to Deep Cavern Bat now. We're going to see that our opponent hates playing the game. All right. So, honestly, this card shouldn't matter to us. Day of Judgment's annoying. That's 2 colorless lands. I'm going to take this because it makes creatures and puts it in our way. And if I can't play a slasher and be a Day of Judgment, then I need to probably not be doing it. You know what I mean? Could be a get lost. How about? There's definitely a pause there now, which sucks, but we're in. Get lost would have been the take if we had the choice earlier. Sure. Flasher. What is going on? You have a get lost. Just get lost one of my creatures, brother. Like why did we wait while I was on the stack to find out if we needed to get lost that one or not? Alright. Urbrass Forge in, sure. Will my opponent rip the land off the top? The world may never know. But how aggressive should I be here? Let's do this. We're gonna graveyard that. I'm gonna play this. Attack out here. And then we're gonna pick it back up. Did you rip the plains? Are you the best to do it or not? Because now I get to corpse and then play Forsaken Miner, even if they do. And we do get a lot of good value there. So we do... No! Nice colorless lands! Maybe in our deck that Fountain Pour is just probably good enough on its own. We don't play Mirrex, at least in my opinion. Also, I think you need to make a 1/1 here. Alright. Alright, alright, alright. Now I feel like there's nothing I lose to. Let's just put it on a random creature. I don't want to put it on Deep Cavern Battle card they already want to target. I'll pick up my corpse and we'll go to combat. Even that one is like not a regular game. My opponent played 3 colorless lands and I beat him. As you can tell, like all my games have been so swingy, dude. I just don't know what's going on today. Best draw would probably be a second Forsaken Miner or like a Tiny Bones. Just kind of any one drop, you know, skeleton. Probably be best. I guess the Soul Cauldron, sure. I do feel like the last few times I've played against Vivi, they've kind of had Cauldron on 2 a lot. I know they play 4 and it's like really likely to happen. It's just, it feels like it's been every time on 2 that they've played it. But thankfully their turn was like sleight of hand into Cauldron instead of playing like a Mako, I think, because that would obviously cause a lot more problems in my mind. This could be like a counter spell, and they can kill this and then like exile it, so I feel like Corpse is the better play, knowing that most of these decks have put Spell Pierce in their sideboard, which is quite funny to think about now. Could also be a Flood Maul here to bounce something. I mean, that's happening. Maybe they're reading it. Maybe they haven't read this card before. It's just like, also don't blame you. Yeah. And there's the Flood Maul. We have a second one. No, okay. We do a lot of damage here. That's pretty good. Now, Sizzle is kind of like a scary card in this matchup for us because obviously, like, we don't want to go low for Vivi, but at the same time, I'm not really going to play it any other way. What's the play now? They bottom and draw. They kind of need to do something. But they're so easily able to just play like a Light Shatter, Fear of Missing Out, put the Vivi in the graveyard, activate the Cauldron, kind of yada 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 there. Double cut down is actually a pretty good pickup here. All these have death touch. A lot of good pressure here, I think. No way for them to technically like save themselves. All this death touch. Of course, whatever they block with Vivi, I'll most likely like cut down the following creature, right? Whenever they try to Cauldron and save it. Unless, of course, the only card that's kind of scary is a Light Shatter. The only card I can't think of. I didn't want to barrel the cut down because then there's like a lot of good chances they can save the card. But let's just hold a cut down. See what's up. And obviously, if they would have removed one of these, then I probably would have done something. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn, sure. Bury it. Oh no! They didn't let me combo. I know Jareth just combos with it. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn, other than your first spell's turn, create a 2/2 zombie token. Whenever zombie control enters, put a 1/1 counter on it for each zombie that entered the battlefield you control this turn. Yeah, so basically they were going to play this, cast a 1-mana spell. Not even that. They just activate Cauldron, they put it under Vivi, they put a counter here. This goes to a 3/4. They activate it, they make 3 mana. They also have a Thundering Fall, so they cast another spell. It makes a zombie. That's a 2/2, and then it gets a counter, and then that one can then be used to be Vivi, as you can see. And then they just make kind of repeatable infinite mana, so it's possible they whiff in a spot like this. They really need a card like Stock Up, and then obviously I don't think whiffing's in their wheelhouse anymore. But as I said, that was probably the most normal game I played all day, weirdly enough. But cool, we're gonna call it there. All right, so here we are talking about skeletons a bit in the outro and what we like and what we do not like from the deck. And one of the main things that I felt I stumbled upon is the fact that Slasher didn't feel the best. And that's weird because Slasher is always a very good aggro threat. And maybe it's just my few amount of games I played today. But I will say the variants in today's games were probably at a higher clip than what they'll normally be at any given time. Like I said, that last Vivi game and maybe one other game in between there is the only game I really felt the games went okay in terms of like how the mana came in and the way our opponent was playing and what we got to play and things like that, where the deck felt so awkward in spots, especially where, I don't know, we just had 6 lands and then we had 2 lands. And if we had 3 lands and then we never drew another, or we got in a spot where at any point we could win, never found really anything to turn the table. Dark Confidant showed up in like a game or 2. That was it. It's like, I had Sissel as a 3 of what felt like every game. It was just the weirdest games. I don't know. It was super weird. The only really downside too is the fact that our rotation is removal. Our removal is rotating, but obviously there's a ton that we can play. Obviously we can go up on a Betrayal if we have like destroy creature here, and this isn't even counting any of the new set, right? So if we go into here, we can obviously start selecting all this, which is great. And then we can kind of look through it and we got, all right, well, we got Feed the Cycle, 3 mana, not the best if we have to, but we can also Forage, which isn't the worst, which is nice. We have Feed the Swarm if we really need to, but obviously we don't really want to play that 'cause it's sorcery. We have a Fell, which is just 2 mana destroy creature, which isn't maybe the best for us either. This is pretty okay. We have Long Goodbye if our opponents are playing low to the ground stuff. So obviously this is going to be good. Creature or Planeswalker. The Planeswalker does get kind of dodged in this situation. The other one that comes to mind is like Shoot the Sheriff. Yeah, destroyed non-outlaw. So Assassin, Mercenary, Pirate, Rogues, and Warlocks are outlaws. So realistically, this card's going to be okay to play. It's not really going to be any different than like Go for the Throats restrictions that it has. But outside of all that, I do think Skeletons is an okay aggro deck. I do think it has a lot going for it and a lot of fun to be played with it. I just don't know if this feels like the proper build, but again, today's games were a bit kind of all over the place. I think Corpse of the Lost is a very, very strong card. And being able to kind of surveil and stuff and put cards in our graveyard for free is pretty solid. But this card kind of has to hard carry, it feels. And if it's not doing that, then I feel like our aggro is just not fast enough. Because we just slow down so hard on our 2-drops. And maybe that's obviously my deck building issue. But other than Corpse of Loss, like we kind of need heavy 1-drops into Corpse and then hope that's good. You know what I mean? But with all that said, I hope you all enjoy regardless. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching and goodbye.